My name is Amy. I'm driving back to Boston, the road stretching ahead under a sky full of stars. For the first time in ages, I feel light, free from the invisible weight that used to burden me. I remember the night that changed everything. I was at my parents' house for dinner. The place looked just as it always had, a perfect, unchanging picture of a well-to-do family home. My parents are traditional, my father a banker who values stability and my mother a homemaker who adheres strictly to social norms. They've always seen my older brother, Ryan, as the golden child. Ryan is a lawyer, following in my father's footsteps, and he's engaged to Lily, a charming and intelligent woman. I arrived late, as usual. The dining room was filled with the sound of clinking glasses and polite chatter. My mother greeted me with a tone that felt more like relief than welcome. "Amy, dear, you're here. Sit down." There was only one seat left, at the far end of the table, facing Lily. I sat down, smoothing my dress, and said a quiet hello. But it was like I was invisible. Ryan didn't even look up from his conversation with Lily. Throughout the meal, my parents and Ryan talked about Ryan's upcoming promotion and Lily's family's beach house. I kept my head down, cutting my food slowly, hoping not to be noticed. I'd worked so hard on my appearance, but it seemed to go unnoticed. I was just the quiet sister who played around with computers, according to my mother. When I landed my first big contract for my tech startup, Digital Pulse, I told them. My mother just said, "Why don't you get a real job, like teaching? It's more stable." And when I moved to Boston to focus on my company, my father asked if I'd finally decided to do something useful with my life. It hurt, but I kept quiet, thinking that one day they'd see my worth. Then, in the middle of the salad course, Lily turned to me with genuine curiosity. "So, Amy, what you do?" It was such a simple question, but it felt like a bomb in the room. My mother let out a sharp, brittle laugh. "Oh, she just plays around with computers. Nothing serious." The table chuckled politely, but I was seething inside. Lily, though, wasn't satisfied. She tilted her head, a small wrinkle forming between her brows, and reached for her phone. My heart started pounding. I knew what she was about to find, but my family had no idea. As Lily scrolled through her phone, the room fell silent. First, there was a look of polite interest on her face, then a pause. Her lips parted slightly, and her brows lifted. "Wait," she said, barely above a whisper. "This is you." She turned the screen around, and there was an article from a major business magazine about me, the founder of Digital Pulse, revolutionizing digital marketing. My mother's smile cracked. She looked like she'd been punched in the gut. Ryan stared at the screen, his mouth open. My father just sat there, stunned. Lily started listing off my achievements, the features in top tech magazines, the keynote speeches, and the value of my company, which was worth millions. I took a deep breath. Lily asked me how I came up with the idea for Digital Pulse. I told her about my old job at an e-commerce company, where everything was so inefficient. I'd spent nights coding a prototype, quit my job, maxed out my credit cards, and lived on instant noodles for months. For the first time, they were all listening to me. I told them about our first beta launch, how we'd reduced inventory errors by 30% for our clients, and how we'd pitched to investors. Lily was amazed, and she asked more questions about our team and our future plans. After that, the atmosphere at the table changed. My mother was unusually quiet, picking at her food. My father tried to talk about politics, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. Ryan just sat there looking at me as if he was seeing me for the first time. After dinner, in the living room, Lily pulled me aside. "That was incredible. I knew you were smart, but this is amazing." I thanked her for Googling me. She said she'd find out the truth if no one else would. As Ryan and Lily were leaving, Ryan hesitated. "That company of yours, Digital Pulse." I had no idea. I just said, "Clearly." He flinched a little. He then mentioned that Lily's friends were investors and asked if I needed connections. I told him we were good, that our current investors were solid, and we had our next round of funding planned. When they left, my mother came to me in the hallway. "Amy, why didn't you tell us about your company?" I told her I had, I reminded her of the times I'd mentioned the prototype and the first round of funding, but they'd always brush me off. She said they just didn't understand the tech world. I told her it wasn't about understanding, it was about listening. She blinked back tears and said they were proud of me. On the drive back to Boston, I thought about how many times I'd tried to tell them about my struggles and successes. But they'd always changed the subject. It took an outsider, Lily, to uncover the truth. And now, I don't need their approval anymore. I'm free to build my own life, in silence if I want, and let my success speak for itself.